Let me know if you guys can hear music. Also, I'm curious if you guys can hear my voice or not. We did a couple of little audio changes. I feel like I tweak it every month.
Yes, we can.
You can hear music or my voice or both?
Both.
Both.
Okay, cool.
Both
Sweet.
good.
Yay! Yeah, I think... Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to play around with it more. I need to download that tool that you have, Caleb. That kind of ports out the audio. Cause,
Yeah, it's really nice to have the granularity of control.
Yes.
Voice meter potato.
Voice meter potato.
And then there's voice meter potato, and then the other thing is there's virtual audio cables. So you can get one virtual audio cable, which is an input to an output for free. And
Okay.
then they have 2 paid packages, which will give you a total of 4 more. So you get 2 for each package. You'll get an A and a B and a C, or a C and a D. So you
Okay.
can have 5 audio cables in total.
Oh.
And I frequently use all of them. It's just nice to have it kind of all centralized. You could basically do it one of 2 ways. You can centralize everything through OBS, or you can centralize everything through voice meter. And you can, it's just kind of what you decide you like. I'm still playing around with different approaches. Loving the tunes.
Yeah.
This is great.
I was trying to stream them through YouTube, and I was just having trouble with the audio actually working. So I just downloaded it and used it as a source. Just kind of casual. Nothing copyrighted. I hope.
No.
No, it was
nothing is copyrighted.
No, the music is called I Hope. I hope. No, it should be fine. It was one of those lo-fis where someone just makes some casual music. So
To study and relax to. Lo-fi
Man, I tell you, I
hip-hop.
listened to so much of that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I switched up my game just recently. I went from the lo-fi stuff to jazz or bossa nova.
Ooh.
Also, but really into rain for some reason recently.
Yeah, me
Like,
too.
Out there, listen to rain, thunderstorms, waves, that kind of a thing. Just
Yeah.
like while you're working.
Have you
It's really pleasing.
I actually
have you
started
done
getting
the
into that.
have you done the Zelda in rain, like relaxing Zelda
Yeah, I
tunes?
think I have
Yeah.
done one of those.
Yeah, those are great.
They also have a channel that's just for, a lot of these are for like people that need to sleep, but there's one, I forget what it's called, but it's like old school oldie music, like 60s or whatnot, 50s, and it's with like soft rain in the background. So it's supposed to sound like an old vinyl record in another room or something like that. And I've done that a couple of times. It's kind of cool.
That's great.
Yeah, I've been doing that, and of course, for those of you who are part of our Discord, you may or may not know, we have our we have a bot that basically streams any kind of music you want to. It is power that we're giving to you, with you know, in some regards, like just make sure you don't put anything crazy vulgar. We you know, but what's cool about it is it's in our voice channels category under Discord. It's called music channel. Honestly, you could put it in any channel that's a voice channel, but what you do is in the what was it called, music dash channel text channel, you put in and I'll just put that in there. an explanation point and play, and then any kind of URL like YouTube, and the voice bot will jump into whatever voice channel you're in and play music and stream it. So
It's a lot of fun to play with.
yeah, and
It's
if
really
you're
cool.
working
Especially when you're talking with other people. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I like, is you could, I mean, I kind of just listen to stuff in there. Like I was listening to some Fallout music, I guess, because they have
just a weird experience.
Yeah.
So strange.
it was, I mean, I loved it. I mean, that's kind of why I when I was playing, I mean, at the time was Fallout 4, I would just play that the whole time, and it became kind of weirdly nostalgic. Just because you just listen to people talk in the wasteland, and then you would listen to old school music, and then we'll go back, and it was kind of cool. And I just kind of liked that when I was just working away, and then other people could join that voice channel, kind of like how Caleb, Scott, and I are in a voice channel, and then they can listen to the same music. They can switch it up. You can create a playlist. So if you want to add to that list, there's a description at the top in the music channel, text channel. They'll give you all of the commands, and we have access to everything. So if you want to try those out, try it sometime. I've seen a couple of guys make some cool playlists. So, but yeah.
Are we about ready to get started there, Wes?
I think so. I think we're ready to go. I see a couple of people chiming in. So, let me go ahead.
Yep. Everyone say hi in the chat.
Hey, hi, hi. It's good to see everybody, or at least see everybody through the chat channels. We will be able to see everybody's faces after the event. So let me go ahead and switch over. I'm gonna maximize this. Cool. All right, cool. So, sweet. Yeah, as I was saying, now you can see our faces. We are real. We're not a figment of your
anyway.
Right. Yeah. Caleb had met up with a bear and totally destroyed him, but with the cost, right? So we're just playing by ear this time. Oh yeah.
He survived. He's okay.
This is not robot Caleb. It is real Caleb.
This is not Mega Man Caleb.
Right.
This is real Caleb.
So cool.
Well, even if it was real Caleb, Caleb would probably have a Mega Man somewhere around here.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
So let me see. So we have a couple of announcements that we wanted to talk about this month. Nothing too crazy. Some of you may already know a couple of these because we always try to send everybody out information as they come in, but this is kind of an easy way to kind of collect everything that we have. So just as a reminder, this, for those of you, I guess they kind of do this through radio. We used to do this in person or whatever, but this is the Central Ohio Game Dev Group. So thanks for everybody for making it out. We're actually using Discord to do our video channels because it gives us a lot of flexibility. And if you're not part of that, definitely check us out. Our Discord link should be in the description of the YouTube channel. And you may see something new in there as well, which we'll talk about later. It's a game jam for something coming up I'll talk a little bit more about. But in Discord, we do a lot of different things. We do our prototype and plays, which is the second Friday of the month. And that is where anybody can come in, showcase their games, or if you just want to see what's going on. We definitely appreciate anybody that can chime in, because definitely nowadays where it's a little bit challenging to get feedback from people on location and see their reactions and all that. This is a really good, at least temporary option where prototype and play is a great way to bring your games, test them out, get some feedback, and then you can stream them and literally get some concepts and ideas from other different players. So if you are building a game, I highly suggest trying it out, see if you like it. And what you'll get is you just let us know in Discord. You can let me know. You can let us know in the chat. I mean, however you can reach out to us. We'll earmark you down for basically one voice channel and one text channel that is exclusive for your game. And then from there, you will just kind of come out. It's like 6 o'clock on a Friday, the second Friday of the month. And you just load your game up there in the voice channel. You stream your game. And when people come in, they can watch you. You can also send them links if you want them to play and give you feedback. And we basically just kind of go through there and we'll wipe the channels down so there's no more text or anything like that every month before the event. But yeah, it's made for you guys. And yeah, and if you just want to talk and chat with people, that's a great way for people that are looking to just kind of hang out on a Friday night. Maybe you're at the end of your work week and you just want kind of like a little party with folks that play games or whatnot. Prototype and Play is a great place for that. So yeah, check us out. And then we do a lot of other things too. So let me go ahead and give you a little bit more of a visual. Let me just kind of make sure I've got this set up so you don't see anything behind the scenes. Hopefully. Cool. So August 29th, Central Ohio Game Dev Group. That's a couple of us in the background during a game jam. Yeah, that was a game jam, so that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So definitely tell folks about us. We're still doing a lot of active stuff. We're actually adding in more stuff. So let me kind of show a little bit about that. So we're a collection of game developers, and we want to help each other, make games or get opportunities to make and work on games. So we collaborate with a lot of folks around Ohio, like CCAD, Columbus State, OSU. We also work with other different groups. You may know that there's actually a couple groups around Ohio, like Cincinnati. They actually have a IGDA, which is International Game Developer Association, which is a great chapter that's around the nation. They provide a lot of resources for game developers, so they're IGDA. Cleveland is a great group too. I've done a couple stuff with both of them, and they're still doing a lot of like new and interesting and continuous things from their game events. So one of them was like Cincinnati. I think it was on Tuesday, was doing an event called Jam Sesh or something like that, where it's like they opened up a channel and Discord to talk, and then they used Google like Present to like post up post-it notes. And the idea was you could present a game idea and brainstorm with other people on how to design that game. And it was a lot of fun. There was like 7 of us, and we were kind of like throwing some stuff around about a game that Brandon was working on, or conceptualizing at least. And it was cool. It was neat to hear everybody's thoughts. And maybe if you're interested in something like that, we can do that as well. I'll try to get in the forefront of that and send those links out to you guys as well if you're interested in that. It's a lot of fun, and I think that things like that would be pretty neat. Cleveland does an event where they do kind of like a let's create event. So it's basically you get separated into different groups on Zoom. You kind of get to meet each other in the beginning, get to introduce yourselves, and then separate into different groups and kind of work in little jam sessions. It could be on your game or whatever, but it's a great way to kind of like work with other people online. So yeah, definitely I'll try to send those stuff out, at least their groups on their Facebook groups or their website groups, if you're interested in those. And we have like I mentioned before, our Prototype and Play. That's September 19th, or excuse me, 11th, from 6 to 9. We have our Let's Play series, which is new. Caleb has been doing a lot with that. Thank you very much for helping us out there. But it's a really new and interesting event for playing a game that you guys vote on. Okay, so if you are interested, we do a voting session. in Discord. Usually we send that out. We'll try to send it out usually in most other places too, like YouTube and whatnot, and Facebook. So keep an eye on that. We haven't decided what category, but we've been asking you guys what our next category is. In this month, it was cerebral games. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Caleb, and your experience?
Yeah. So we've done 3 of these so far. Our first one was the pedestrian. That was our first one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, we did the pedestrian, and that was just kind of our first, hey, let's try this, see if it works, and that went
Yeah.
really well. A lot of fun. And then I kind of came up with the idea, well, why don't we do something? Well, we asked for people to have their submissions, like, what games would you like us to play? And the focus of everything, and I think this is important to establish, is what we wanted to do with that is create a space where we could deconstruct games that have been released that are out there in the wild. Um, and we could really break them down, talk about their little pieces and parts. What makes it click? Why does it work? Potentially, why doesn't it work? And just an opportunity for us to really deep dive analysis into things so that you can continue to increase your tools as you are building your own games and thinking about, well, how do I communicate information through my tutorial? How do I make UI that is really helping the player understand the world more? How do I make a hit feel like a hit by thinking about screen shake and controller shake and
Hmm.
certain flashes, that kind of, just like breaking all that stuff down into its very minimal parts, to help the player have the best experience possible. And so that's the idea behind it. And we got a collection of games last time, and it was just sort of like, there's too much here. How do I narrow this? And so we started thinking about, well, let's actually do a categorical breakdown. So we did a sort of a platformer, was the one we did, Hollow Knight, and that was a lot of fun. And then last time we did cerebral, and the idea with that was not just puzzle, but things where you have to use your brain, use your head, as more a thinking through game rather than an action twitchy response kind of game. Um, and we ended up playing Baba Is You, and Wes and I got to do that together. And I had played Baba Is You the night before the live stream. Wes had not seen it yet, and just that interaction was great. Getting to see a sort of like surprising Wes with the intricate, funny things that Baba Is You was doing. So we just had a really good time talking through the design of that game. So yeah, looking forward, we've had a couple of suggestions of future categories. Always looking for more suggestions for other categories, other games, that kind of a thing. So the tentative schedule for how ideally I would like for this to kind of go is make a decision the week ahead of time for what our theme is going to be, our category, and then give people an opportunity to submit ideas, that kind of a thing, and then by at least the Wednesday ahead of time, getting a form up there for people to put their votes into, so that we can get it reared up, close that on Saturday, and then set everything up for Sunday. So yeah, last month we actually moved it to the fourth Sunday just because of scheduling weirdness. We didn't want to have Friday prototype and play followed immediately by uh, the Let's Play, just because of weird dates and months
Yeah.
and how things shift and
Try to
all of
space it
that.
out a little bit for you guys.
But typically, I think it's going to be the third.
Yeah.
Typically, it should be the third and fit kind of nicely between those 2 other events. So,
Yep.
been a lot of fun. All of the previous 3 are up on uh, YouTube, so you can go check those out. Or yeah, we're always open to suggestions, category suggestions, game suggestions for future ones. So yeah.
And
What
that.
was
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
really quick.
Go ahead, Scott.
What was fun about the pedestrian one, and I hope we can do this more if the categories fit, is the pedestrian one. Since it's an Ohio built game,
Hmm.
the developers were right there in the chat with us.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun because
Mhm.
we were playing it for the first time. Well, we'd played it a little bit beforehand, but largely for the first time, and it was great to have that back and forth with the developers in the chat. And I think they were
Yeah.
giving out keys too.
They were. They
Yep.
just they
Giving
started.
us
That was completely. We had no idea that was going to happen. They
that
just
was
showed up and like,
unpromoted.
"Hey, here's a key. Here's a key. You get
That
a
was
key, and
great.
you get a key."
Yeah. So
So
we hope to do more stuff like that too.
and that being said as well is I kind of follow this into the game dev meetup that we're having now. Is so this is for you guys. So if you ever like want to be involved in these, you're like, oh wow, I found out that you guys are doing like puzzle games or story games or whatever it is, and you want to be involved in that discussion, let us know, and we'll work to. We can't promise anything, but we're more than excited to get you guys involved um, in these events. So if you want to be a part of that, and like I know it's more of a, an open discussion between us three, which is cool. But I don't want it to be the trio band all the time. So if you guys want to be a part of these, let us know. Um, Now with the Let's Play and the Game Dev Meetup, we do record those, so those will be online. Prototype and Play is not. Prototype and Play is just very casual, and the reason why we do that is the Let's Plays can be kind of pretty educational for people, as well as the Game Dev Meetups. So that's why we have those for people. So if they say didn't find the event or couldn't make it, they can go online and see it later. We've always kind of wanted to be able to do that. But if you're comfortable with that, we would love to have anybody that wants to join us and critique these games or give us feedback, and just if they want to present an idea in game development, all the better. And then what that's going to do is really just help everybody else in those opportunities to see what other people are thinking about and share something that's exclusive to Ohio and the Midwest that I think is really growing, and we can see really growing within our communities. Like I said, it's thriving. I just think that a lot of people don't really know where to go, and that's always been our goal, is to kind of create those opportunities. So enough of that. That's kind of something we want to go a little bit more in detail, because I know some people might be new or haven't been here for a while. So you can definitely check us out on thecog.com. So that has all our events. And then we also have our Facebook group. If you again type in the cog, you'll find us. Our Discord has been in the chat channel as well as us on screen. If you really want day-to-day information or talk to people, that's a great place to go to. We've been telling folks that there's also like help channels in there. So if you get stuck, you can either text or even join a voice channel and kind of work something out with other developers. And I thank everybody for that, that have been able to help other folks and just give feedback. Anything is welcomed, really. I mean, we're trying to be a pretty open group. It is a family group, so just make sure that as we've been kind of saying, if you wouldn't say it to your grandma, then don't say it. Is kind of like our funny little note. But for the most part, like, we want to hear everybody's opinion. We want to be an evolving, open group. So if there's anything that you can do to help, let us know. If you're interested in different ideas or discussion, reach out to us. We're really open. We're pretty friendly, I'd like to say. So let us know. We're happy to help. We also have our YouTube channel, which is, if you're here, you're already here. That is on the screen. We are at, and I'll kind of move through the next one. So news and
I'm gonna plug
events.
this for a second.
Yeah.
So
Go
I
ahead.
think you were probably going to say this, Wes, but I'm gonna steal your thunder.
Go ahead.
But so the funny thing about YouTube is they have like weird requirements for different things. One of the weird requirements they have is you can't have a custom URL for your channel until you reach 100 subscribers. So we're at what, Wes?
83.
83. Yeah. So we're only 17 away from being able to be youtube.com/thecog or whatever it is.
Yep.
So currently, I think we're a string of like 15, 20 characters or so.
Yeah.
So hey, if you haven't subscribed, we'd love it if you would. You may or may not get notifications. You can hit the bell if you want. I know most people are all like and subscribe. I don't worry. I mean, if you want to like it, great. If you don't want to like it, sure. If you don't want to have notifications, whatever. Not really a big deal. But if you could hit the subscribe button, and that would actually help us get to that 100 number, so that we can have our fancy custom URL.
Yeah.
And hey guys, nice job. I think we're 85 now.
Ooh, there we go.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to our members. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we don't get paid for this, so it's not like, hey, we do this for a living, and I don't see us doing this for like a paid thing. But what it does do is really just make it easier for us to give you guys more information and make it easier for you to find us. Because there's so many times where I talk to folks and I'm like, hey, did you know about this? Or like, I had no idea. I'm like, well, you should meet us because there's a lot of really good people you can talk to. And kind of the nice caveat of what's happened in terms of us, moving everything online is that we are now open to a lot of new folks. And a lot of folks that even through COG weren't able to make our events because they were either lived too far away or couldn't make the time frame because it was too close to something or whatnot. So it's been really helpful in that regards because we've always wanted to create that platform, and now we have it. We have at least a start. So as you know, excuse me, or as you can read, we're 1,800 members strong on Meetup. We've got 83 subscribers on YouTube. We got our Discord. I forget how many's on there. That one's growing a lot too. Thanks for everybody kind of moving in there. And then we are still working on the COG website. I think that's been month to month. I think it's been kind of like, a mixture between things in the background that we've been working on and a couple things coming up that's kind of slowed that a little bit, but we've been in discussions to keep that pushing forward. So keep an eye out for that, and that'll actually help with a lot of this information too, because then it'll all be in one spot. And yeah, so keep an eye on our online resources. And then in August, we're still keeping everything online. I think, there are things that are looking better, but I think we're just going to keep moving forward, and just kind of keeping an eye on how other groups are doing it and how other events are doing it. And we'll definitely keep everybody updated on those things as well, month to month. So, and then the big thing that I wanted to talk about today is that we have GDEX online as well. So if you didn't find out before, either like last month or a little bit online, we now have GDEX October 9th through the 11th. It's a 3-day event, just like it always has been, but it's all online. So if you go to thegdex.com, you'll see it. It's our GDEX TV. So we will be hosting a lot of the content online. So keep on a lookout on that. There are a couple of things that we're finalizing. Yeah, so it should be cool. We'll have online, speakers and presenters and exhibitors, just like we have before. And we're working with another organization to stream all this content through, so it's a really good curated experience. And right below that, something brand new to this year is our GDEX Game Jam. So this is September 18th through the 27th. So if you've done game jams in the past, like Global Game Jam, a Ludendare, you'll know that those are very, very small time frames, right? Usually 48 hours, 72 hours. We actually wanted to try something a little bit different and do a 2-week jam, and that's actually a little bit more than 2 weeks. And that should be kind of neat, because it will allow more people to kind of develop organically, which is kind of our goal. And you may have noticed in the beginning of this chat channel, I posted a couple of links. So definitely check that out. It's actually, should be in the description of the YouTube channel. But we have we're going to be doing our game jam on itch.io, which is a game platform for people submitting games, for selling games, and for game jams. And a lot of other stuff too, but that's kind of usually what people go there for. So we're using that as our platform to update our games and upload our games, and we're actually going to use it to judge our games. So we're going to get a couple of judgers. So be on the lookout for that as we create those rubrics and criteria. And then we're also submitting or have created a Discord channel. So that's going to be where everybody can be there in real time to collaborate. So if you're familiar with the Discord channel in COG, you'll fit right in with the Discord channel for our GDEX Game Jam channel. So that's in our links above. And yeah, so those are going to be our two primary ones. And what's great about the Discord channel is you'll be able to go there to not only find out all the information about the game jam, but also be there to become like a jammer role, which will give you information, give you different opportunities to like create teams, and get information about the content and also get information about what everybody else is working on. So it's all new. It's very hot off the press, so to speak. So so definitely if you're interested, it's a free event. We highly suggest it, especially if you want to, kind of work on a game with other people without a lot of issues with like, ooh, I'm going to make this game and I got to sell it or, whatnot. Yeah, because it's, after 2 weeks, you can be done if you want. Totally up to you. So definitely check us out. Again, links in the description. But definitely, if you can, join us, and it should be a lot of fun. Got a lot of really cool, exciting plans throughout those 2 weeks, so we should see a lot of cool stuff there. So
Yeah, Wes, we need to put everything on hold and make sure that we get COG pajama pants ASAP. There's now a high priority item.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
In the chat, we've been talking about merch.
I
And
mean, I can make that happen if you want to. I know how to do it. That wouldn't cost us anything. So, I mean, it would cost to buy it, but if you guys really want to, I'll make a note of that. Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I will say that if we actually do it, I will have to get a pair. I will have to get a pair, and that will be the only thing I wear for 2 weeks. No, I can't say that. I won't do that. I won't do that. But I will wear it. Yeah, I could probably wear them during the day, at least during like a couple of days there and there. I would have to wash them. Well, not wear them, not wash them. That would not be a good experience, at least for me. You guys may not really notice.
Or
I
we
will have
just
to
all
suffer.
get 7 pairs. Right?
That's true. Yeah, we'll look into that. I'll keep you guys posted, and then if we actually have them, I will.
The people want merch.
I know. I will send it through the pipelines to the GDEX folks and see if they're interested. I mean, we need to get some COG merch too. So
Yep.
we'll keep you guys posted. But yeah. Am I missing anything, guys? You can think of from events and news?
I think you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're rocking.
I think the only thing I could think of that isn't on here, there's the. Let me double check, so I'm not mispronouncing it. There's always online events, and I like to kind of shout out to a couple of them from time to time. But there's one, online called Indie Arena Booth. It is the Indie Game Arena. I actually follow Finji. It's a publisher company that does like Into the Woods and whatnot. Good question. Sorry, I'll answer that here in a sec. But yeah, so definitely check out that. Check that out. I feel like they're still going on this weekend. Let me double check. Yeah, it's a really cool experience. But they have a lot of different games there that you can check out and kind of look at other folks. So yeah, definitely check them out this weekend if you got nothing else to do. So kind of harking back, someone asked if GDEX is still accepting volunteer applications. I would just say, go ahead. I'm not 100% sure if they are or not, but it does get pooled in a system. So I would say check them out because we could always use some volunteers. I mean, even online, there's always, help with certain things, whether that's kind of sending stuff out. But that's a good question. I'm not really sure if they are or not. What you can do is go to thegdex.com, and there's a forum down there at the bottom where it says contact us. Just write your name, your email, and a message saying, hey, I'm looking, to volunteer. Do you guys have opportunities? And yeah, that would be a good way to check them out. Yeah, because we could always use the help. So cool. All right. Well, I'm going to keep moving and talk about our presentations today. So not a whole lot of crazy stuff today, but we already did our announcements. But we have Jeff who's helping out doing a game called Centripetal. Did I say that right this time? Centripetal. Um, and I think that we'll have them present, and then usually how this works is that if anybody else wants to do a presentation, like just kind of show off something, either it's a game or a concept or whatnot, let us know. Just send us a chat channel message, and we'll work behind the scenes to see if we can get that to work. So yeah, check us out, and then Jeff will do his presentation next, and then afterwards, what we'll do is we'll have a talk through the chat channel, which a lot of you are already doing. If you have questions through the presentation, just send a message there, and then Scott and or Caleb will send them to me or to us here, and we'll answer them either during or after his presentation, just depending on how the flow is working. And then after the event, join us on Discord, and we'll be in the general chat and voice channels to get to know each other and get to talk to each other. So definitely hang out there for a little bit if you want to catch up with folks. If you have something you want to talk about, let us know. We'd be happy to meet you guys there too. So, and we'll be here from 1 to 4, give or take. If it ends up a little bit early, we'll let you guys know. But for the most part, we'll be here until you're here. So, but yeah, without further ado, I think we're gonna go ahead and bring in our next presenter. And we'll hold tight while we bring them in. Let's see. Looks like I got there we go. All right. Go full screen, and there we go. All right. I think we got everyone. Right. So, yeah, I just wanted to introduce Jeff. He has actually been with COG for a little while, in an event or so, and yeah, he's going to be presenting his game today. So I'll let him take the floor, and oh, sorry, let me just kind of answer this real quick. Will there be a GDEX Developers Day this year? That is a good question. When I find that out, I will let you know. But as to my understanding, it'll be a lot like what you're normally used to the GDEX. So I would assume that the first day will be mostly workshops and speakers, a lot like our Game Dev Day. So yeah, good question. But as soon as we actually get the schedule out for the GDEX, which again is happening in October 9th through the 11th, we will send it out like candy. I mean, we're just gonna hand it out like nobody's business. So, and then that'll give us more information about the schedule and what's kind of coming up. So sorry, didn't mean to take the show, but just want to make sure I got that before I forgot. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, Jeff, and a little bit about what you're going to be showing today.
Okay, so hey everyone, I'm Jeff Gatos. I'm Jeff_G on Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I've been with COG on Discord at least since you guys started the Discord. But I knew about you guys for about a year. I think I met George Zietz at last year's GDEX, so that was pretty cool. I'm a CSE major at OSU, so that means computer science and engineering. I am specializing in game design. I'm a junior. I'm also minoring in physics. And I'm also involved in the game creation club at OSU, so that's a big part of where this game came from, because they participated in the Global Game Jam last year, which, if you remember, was the theme was repair. And what our club normally does is they just, at the beginning of a game jam, they brainstorm a bunch of ideas, and we just get them up on a board. And then if you don't have an idea for the game jam itself, you can just take one of those ideas and run with it. So that's pretty much what I did. One of the ideas was repairing a solar system. So that's kind of the idea behind this game. You have to get the planets in the right orbit as well as in the correct velocity range, and then they'll get locked that sort of thing. But it was made in Unreal Engine, which I wasn't super acquainted with. I strongly disliked it at first because it's pretty complicated. There's a lot of objects, but that can be nice to have all those objects. I grew to like it though because it's a very powerful engine, mostly because of how many objects it has, and if you actually use the objects correctly, you can get a lot out of it. For what I was doing, it didn't really matter that much about which objects I was using. Mostly has to do with like servers and like where you want to store your data on the client side or the server side, things like that. Another thing I didn't like about it was C++. Everyone at OSU is trained in Java, so C# is very similar to Java, so we all really like C#. But even though I wasn't super great at C++, it was really nice to have the visual scripting. I don't know if you guys know about visual scripting in Unreal Engine, but that made things super fast, took full advantage of that, I think. You can really get things ripped out in visual scripting and prototyped. It's really nice. And then lastly, Unreal Engine is known for having, better graphics and by default, and like good lighting and that sort of thing. And I mean, obviously, if you know what you're doing, you can do whatever you want in Unity and get something that looks great. But I don't really know what I'm doing with lighting, so it's great to have that. But I'll just go ahead and get it open real quick. Get that shared. Bear with me here. All right, can everyone see that?
Let's switch over. Yep.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right.
Oop, we're good. Yep.
So, anyways, this is the game. It's centripetal is what it is for the centripetal forces. That's a way you can view gravitational pull. So let's just get right into it. So here's one of the things that I wanted to change actually, because this tutorial it's just kind of a wall of text, pretty complicated. I've already actually gotten feedback on it, and I wasn't a huge fan of it when I put it in myself, but I mean there's a lot to absorb in the game, so I definitely need to make some sort of interactive tutorial at some point. But one of the main reasons I wanted to make it this way, because I wanted to finish this game before classes started, because I knew I wouldn't have much time when classes started. So for time management's sake, I went ahead and made this tutorial. But so anyways, here it is. Here's your planet. Here's your gravity well. You can click to get around. You can right click to invert. You can change which direction you're going, that sort of thing. And then you can select the planet. Tells you some data about it. So pretty much all you have to do is get the planet at the right distance from the sun, and then going the right velocity and counterclockwise. I just happened to pick counterclockwise. So all the data that's here is also visualized here. So if we go in here and we go clockwise, so it's when we go the other way, and that means it's good. And if I go too fast, that means it's too fast. So you just have to get it in the right area, with the right velocity, and then that's how that works. Let's see. Go to level 4. So this level has pretty much all the features I made. It has a planet here. There's another planet here, but it's not really part of what you're supposed to be locking. I call these things dwarf planets. They're not. That's not astronomically correct, but it doesn't really matter. And then you can see there's comets in the background and asteroids here. One of the things that I did struggle with Unreal is, you would expect that planet that just exploded would have similar code, not the exact same code for gravity as this one. And if I was doing object-oriented programming correctly, I would have had some sort of gravity-based child or parent, and then childed the parent, or I would have childed that gravity-based object to make the planet and the dwarf planet separately. But instead what I had is I had a bunch of code in the planet, and the planet became really big, and I couldn't really, child off of that. So, that doesn't really get any advantage out of that. I did have to copy and paste a lot of code as a result. But yeah, looking back, I definitely would have made my objects a little bit smaller so that I could have gotten more out of that. The interesting thing, though, is, again, that planet that just exploded, it's the same C++ class, so it has the same parent as these comets here. So, and again, those aren't even that much, similar. I really just used the switch statement to switch between certain mechanics, but I think I did reuse the gravity mechanics for the comets. So that's really the only part that I used object-oriented programming super effectively. But as you can see, there's a time at the top that'll run out. You can see that as I try to get this in here. I am taking feedback, so if you have any feedback already, you can send that in the
I was
in the chat there.
looking. Oh wait,
Couple more levels, I guess I could show off.
I keep muting myself because I was like, if I say something. So I did see a little bit in the chat channel. So there's, I think, a lot of agreements. Yeah, so a lot of people were talking about the tutorial portion, right? And I think you were saying you got a lot of like feedback initially for that anyways, but I know that, just kind of chiming through, Jason was saying, good tutorials are tough to make. Sometimes it's best just to make a tough cut and get a bunch of feedback, but, being the dev of a game blinds you, right? So I think, yeah, that's just something, he's got to get something out there. And I think that's something that, I always see time and time again is, just see what people think. And I think, for me anyways, it's almost like I would say that, like, I like the aesthetic of what these are, but some of the text is hard to read, right? So like this white text that's highlighted with the light blue font is really, really hard to read.
Right.
I think it's things like that, or even like the banding stripes in the background behind all the text is really cool. But I think that it needs to be like more muted, because even that could be a little bit distracting, maybe unnecessarily so. But
subtler, right?
Yeah. And I think that even more so than that, like, I feel like it's even still in a stage where you can even just, either through an online tool or just pen and paper, just write out what all of your UI menus are. Because definitely this game looks like it would benefit from having a really solid UI system. A menu system, and just kind of say, here's everything that the player needs to access and learn to understand, and think about ways to make that easy to read, and what the different components go from one scene to the next, or one menu to the next, and make it to where it's like, what are ways that we can make the clicks a lot less, right? Or make it easy if someone has a question about the game, where they can go, or need to access a menu, how can that be intuitive? Because right now this works. It works pretty well, it seems like, but I know this kind of reminds me, it's like I look at this, it's a sci-fi theme, but this looks a lot like what I see in either mobile games or what I've seen in our game for Hatchet, where it was like, okay, let's just put this in here and see how that works. But just thinking of ways that might make more sense. Like I would almost make those buttons not opaque at all, just to make it easier. But it's kind of neat. I like seeing the background of the universe, right? Because it's big space and open. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. These, I realize, like these are transparent a little bit, and there's some that aren't transparent at all. I'd have to show you guys. I think it's in the credits. Some of them aren't transparent, so maybe I could show that and see if that looks better. But yeah, I did struggle a lot with trying to get some sort of, visual that made it look like a screen, because that was the idea there. But yeah, thank you for that.
There's some really great feedback in the a chat from Jason, who obviously does this a lot. But actually, that's a problem with tutorials is when you're the developer of a game, you become so intimately familiar with the mechanics of it. It's really hard to think like a new player and think how a new player is going to approach your system. And so, the advice really is try to get people playing your game, which Jeff, you've already started doing. You threw that game in there for people to download and start playing. It sounds like you started getting some feedback from that. So that's exactly what you need to do. And the other thing you can do along with that is try to have focused things of saying, hey, how does this work for you in terms of learning how to play the game, and then just kind of trying to pick up on what are things people are struggling with and how you can as much as possible show, don't tell. I think you already know that because you mentioned the wall of text thing yourself, but yeah, totally.
All right. I'll go ahead and keep showing this level.
Yeah.
I like this level a lot. I like the design on it. So you got a bunch of rings. You got a couple of dwarf planets here. It's getting really laggy. I don't know why.
Whoa! Look at
You're supposed to explode a part on each of the rings so that you can get the planet through without destroying planets. The planet's also very fragile. We'll get a little less laggy here in a second.
Yeah, sometimes when you're streaming and playing a game, it's what we learned on our, you know,
Yes.
our Let's Plays is, it's fine. I mean, I can see it pretty well. I've definitely had worse.
I don't know how to hit there, but
Oh.
yeah. But anyways, I like that. It's kind of like a maze of asteroids there. But I guess some of the other things I learned were just like a lot of time management. Like I wanted to make a bunch of other features. I wanted to have like binary stars, pulsars, nebulas, black holes, all kinds of stuff. But I had to cut out all that, and it came down to like which components looked the best or created the most immersion or the most gameplay. And I thought comets, asteroids, and dwarf planets did the most there. And again, like I've done some game development in the past, but developing this completely on myself, on my own, I just realized it's like almost half art and half coding. Like it's really not that much code compared to how much art you're doing. So
yeah, and so I was looking in the channel. I think it was Zachary was talking about like they learned a lot from like basically color theory, right? And I think that's something that you might be discovering making this kind of game, because color can be very beneficial. So like, in some instance the sun is always like this warm red, right? But maybe you want that to be a motif to represent danger. So maybe there might be things in the level that might represent danger, like maybe later you have a spacecraft or something. Oh, that's cool. And maybe
that was really cool.
Maybe the enemy spacecrafts are red, and maybe you have something represent allies, which can be like a blue or something like that. So yeah, definitely, because that's because people try to associate that, right? Like I saw the green bar that you had, and I wonder if that green bar can represent progression or something like that. So like kind of reciprocating to what Zachary was saying. Yeah, I think that's something to keep in mind. He asks, how old is the project from start to actual development?
Okay, well, I mean, I started it this summer at the beginning, but the music I actually made way back. So I don't know, music probably took like 2 hours per track, and then obviously I've been working on the actual game part of it through the summer, so like what, 3-4 months maybe.
It's cool. And so you said you used Unreal for the game. What did you use for the music?
Oh, I just used the FL Studio demo version. So
Okay.
all these like sounds are just default sounds pulled out of generators that are already there. So
That's cool. Yeah, that's Fruity Loops.
yeah.
Yeah, I love Fruity Loops. I haven't
Nice.
touched that in a while. It's for the most part easy to pick up. I mean, it's pretty adaptive, which is why I really like it. So cool.
Right. Well, that's all I had to say. If anyone has any more questions, we can answer those. But
Cool. Oh,
Hmm.
can you talk about so you had some of these explosions occur and some of the suns occur. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the me mechanics a little bit more detailed is what I'm interested in. So like
Okay.
is the goal to prevent disaster essentially,
Well,
or is
right.
it
Yeah.
to
Yeah. If your planet gets destroyed, the level ends.
Mhm.
Immediately. So sometimes that level I was showing before with the chain reaction, sometimes you can get all those to explode and your planets are totally fine. They got enough health that you can just lock them in. But I guess the idea behind that one, I'll just go back to it. That 9. That's 9. The idea behind it is you're just supposed to, because those are those.
Oop, I think we lost him for a sec.
Yeah, disconnect.
Technical difficulties. We're back.
That's all good.
Do you see
That'll
everything? All right,
stream
cool.
unless something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ah, there it is. That's the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you
That's
see everything?
No, can
uh
you start your stream
Got the
again?
yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So we got your video of you.
Yes. All right, there
There
we
we
go.
go.
All right, cool. So yeah, the idea is supposed to get this one in between these two without knocking into them,
Okay.
and then that one just loaded. Yeah, you're just supposed to thread the needle between those two, in between planets, and then get it locked on the inside, and then get this one locked on the outside. And you can do that without exploding any planets. I've done that before. It's hard to do though. That's why it's a later level. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's the general idea. You can see every time you collide with something, it takes like the momentum and as times the force or times the mass, and it does some calculations to take out some of the health. And then if you're like rubbing constantly against something, it's like 1,000 different collisions, so it usually
Oh, jeez.
takes a lot of health away.
That's
But
too cool.
that's the general idea. Each of these asteroids are also individual particles that you can get hit by. They're not like the graphical particles. Like all those explosions are just
Oh, hi,
graphics.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely don't
I
want to explode things most of the time.
really like that because it's I see a lot of these like galaxy and universe simulators, and what I see a lot of people do, at least like when I watch people on YouTube do it, is they just make up their own game. And I'm like, why not just make a level that is an interesting setup and create some sort of goal that way? So I really like kind of where this is going too. So
Yeah.
For that particular level, so now I'm curious. I'm imagining myself play it and how I would try to solve that. It looked like it would be very difficult to thread that needle, as you said, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you? One way to solve it is to try to just on the outside orbit of that ring of planets. Could you try to match the velocity of that larger planet and then just kind of like scoot him inside the hole? Is that
Yeah. I mean, essentially, that's what you're trying to do.
okay?
'Cause you
Instead
do
of
have
just trying to
some.
plow through, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I was
Okay,
trying to
that's
do. It is.
cool.
It's quite laggy though. Yeah. Some of the issues or some of the things that you're supposed to do at this level is you can see. Let me just restart it again. You can see the orbits overlap with those explosive planets. But there's this room on the outside, and that's where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go on the outside so you don't hit the planets. I think if you do
Oh,
orbit in line, you probably would be traveling at about the same speed, but I don't think it would last forever. You'd eventually hit, because once you lock a planet, if it gets hit again, it'll just automatically unlock it, and it'll just go free body. So
I see.
you have to worry about that.
so
But
somebody else had a question. I think it was Jason was asking. Is the background star field intended to obscure the objects in the solar system?
It does not, no, but it does do that. I have wanted to try to fix that. That's just because the way Unreal handles like light and stuff is like that sun is like the maximum could cram into the light engine for Unreal. So if we get rid of the sun and all that light,
Oh, I see.
the background lights up like a camera.
Oh, huh.
It's creative.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's probably a way to fix that for sure, and that's one of the things that's like,
That's tricky.
yeah, it's kind of weird because I've always heard the juxtapose of using Unreal versus like something like Unity or whatever, is that Unreal has everything given to you. I think Jason, you were saying this. I don't know. I'm not going
Yeah.
to put words in your mouth, but we were talking about the difference. Like Unreal kind of gives you everything in the box, so to speak, to start with, where Unity kind of gives you almost nothing, and you kind of discover it as you go and add what you need.
See, he was saying the feature sets are very similar, but Unreal, when you open the box, all those features are turned on, whereas Unity, all those features are turned off.
Right. So like lighting,
Yeah.
especially like one of the things I noticed is that when you're moving your cursor around, it does a fast blur, which
Yeah, definitely.
that's like, oh, that's Unreal. Like unless unless for some reason you added that into another program, and there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but I kind of wonder if that would help with performance to take that out if that's an option. I think there's a lot of things, especially with something so physics based. I mean, you could go down into a spiraling hole of optimization, especially in something like this. But I think that could be a necessary goal, is to figure out ways to optimize things, and that might be like, I mean, I don't know if there's a way to bake the lighting in this in some regards. Especially in this one where like the light source is mainly the sun, you might be able to get away with it. But definitely, I think that there could be things to help to optimize it for sure. And for something like this that you built in a couple of months, this is perfectly fine. This is perfectly fine. And I'm almost more interested in seeing a version of these levels that have no special graphics, have no crazy lighting, and just look at the puzzles. You know what I mean? Like I would like to see, personally, man, I would like to see like maybe 20 or 30 levels that are really interesting, and then work on the visuals later, where it could be just like literally, you know, these spheres on like, they're colored but they're on a white background, and the big circle represents the sun, and then there's like a little, I mean the cursor's probably not too crazy, but just kind of make a simple version of it that you can kind of work on the puzzles, because I think that's what people are gonna like really look and try to get pulled into initially. So that, I don't know. Let me see if there's other questions. There are comments. So Zachary was saying maybe you could make a tool for the player to edit their UI, cover up the sun. Since the camera works like the human eye, it could be fun, maybe. Yeah. Scott was saying maybe make a level editor, which could be neat.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Yeah, everyone is, especially when you've built like a system, right? And especially with games that have a gravity type component, giving the player the ability to be creative and make their own stuff just goes so far. It really goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think
I'd have fun with it.
I think what would separate this out from just like a galaxy simulator, which is perfectly fine if you wanted to create like a version of that, is that you could create goals, right? Where I think in a simulator, there are no goals. I mean, usually people just say, well, when the Earth is destroyed, you win or something. I don't know, but they make up their own thing. It's kind of like a sandbox, like well, they have a universe sandbox simulator, or like Minecraft or something like that. You don't really have a game, but that's what makes this interesting, a little bit more interesting, at least for me anyways, is that you're trying to make sure that the Earth isn't destroyed or whatnot. So And I think that's kind of fascinating. Like maybe it's, uh, you could have one level called, you know, Hot Doomsday, and it's like, maybe 12 dwarf stars like coming at the Earth, and you have, 100 million years to, and maybe it's sped up, but 100 million years to save the Earth from being destroyed.
Right.
That would be interesting, I think.
I
Because
think
it's
I actually have
Yeah,
a
that's
level
cool.
kind of like that. It's not as crazy as it was before. I think it was level 6. Yeah, this one, it just has a bunch of comets, and those comets can hit your planet. It used to be a lot harder. I made it a lot easier because it was getting really annoying. Because I also made it hard to lock this planet. You got to get a very specific speed on it.
Oh, okay.
And it's pretty heavy too, so it's just kind of weird. But yeah, it might not happen this time. But sometimes these the comets, yeah, you just saw one hit the sun there, and they can hit your planet and explode.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, what could be kind of neat is if, like, maybe you had a mechanic, like, somehow you can get a moon or even asteroids to orbit your planet to kind of act as a shield.
Right.
That could be, useful in a
Yeah.
level like this or something like that. Be kind of cool.
I thought about making moons, but like those were like way out of the picture, like at the beginning, because like physics behind that. I just thought that would be a little too complicated because right now, when you lock the planet, I don't like just let it go and let the physics do it. It just follows a parametric circle equation, so there's no physics once you actually lock it in. So I don't know how I'd do the moons, but it wouldn't be as physics based. I don't think.
Could it be like maybe you just select it to have a moon in the beginning? Like maybe there's a screen where you can like set up your planet to have certain features, or the level to have certain features in the beginning. Maybe there's a description of what the level's like. Because that's one of the things I noticed off the bat is I feel like there's kind of almost like this missing like screen or something where you're thrown into this level, you have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
And to some instance that's fine, right? Like if you see everything is calm, but you know that if I hit the sun, I'm going to die, right? But if, later you find out, oh, hey, in a minute there's going to be a crazy amount of asteroids coming in, then you know that you need to approach this level within a minute, otherwise you're going to get decimated really quickly.
Right.
I almost feel like there could be a screen before that that kind of give you a description of what the level's like, so you can kind of prepare for it, so you kind of know what needs to be done, and you can almost pick the levels that you want to try to play around with first or second.
Yeah.
Kind of reading through the comments, Kyle was saying, if you want to give players the option to add textures and colors to the game objects and UI, that could be really helpful both for accessibility and customization. So yeah, that could be useful. So if you're like trying to work on contrast of the UI, that could be helpful for people that are colorblind for sure. One way to see what that looks like is just turn everything black and white and see if anything gets washed out entirely, or significantly. So Zachary asks, do all the bodies have gravitational pull? So like all the different elements in the screen.
No, the asteroids are completely unaffected by the gravity well because I knew I'd have like hundreds of them, and I didn't really want to see how far my game could go with those asteroids. But I mean, I could add that feature; it would just be a couple more lines of code.
Yeah, and again, talking about movement and influence, Smiling Cat was talking about, for simplicity, maybe the movement of satellites, in quotations, for the planet could be influenced by the planet and nothing else. So that might be something too, is kind of like simplifying what's being influenced and what's not. And yeah, I think it's like we get kind of I mean, you can decide how far you want to go. If you want it to be super
Right.
physics based, or if you just want it to be like, somewhat artificial, but remnants of what actually happens in real life. Like, at the end of the day, it's a game. So if you like, you can kind of decide how far you want to go. But definitely, if you're trying to aim towards an experience, um, you know, not everything has to be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
you
That's
know.
very true. You could also, just to get a feel for what it looks like, you could fake it to make it, right? You could just put something that revolves around a body at a fixed path. It's not actually interacting with any kind of physics engine
Right.
or physics code or anything like that, just to see what it looks like. Maybe if that planet is destroyed and the moon's not for some reason, it could just take a straight line of whatever, or then it could interact with the physics of the sun, something like that, and continue its velocity. But you could fake it just to see what it looks like. You don't have to try to make it as perfect as possible. Is what Wes was saying.
And
That's good.
in some instance, I almost would suggest not making it physics perfect, because it becomes challenging to debug later
Yeah.
down the road. When you're trying to QA, like, does this game perform the same way throughout, or does it create a different experience, or whatever? We did a game, I think I mentioned this before, but like with Hatchet, which is at one time is like a sliding puzzle game where you basically are this robot like hatching dinosaur eggs, and your concept is to kind of like save the dinosaur eggs before extinction. But all of it at one point in time was all physics based. Basically, it was a mobile game, and you could swipe the robot, and it would move. At the kind of an isometric game, it would move top down, left and right. And the problem is, like, it was a notorious bug that sometimes when you hit a wall or an egg or something else, you would just fly into the sky forever. And we just could not figure out exactly why. And it was because, sometimes depending on your computer, depending on like certain parameters, it's really hard to lock down the physics at times. I mean, there are ways to do it, but it became such a challenge that eventually what had happened is that our programmer just decided to fix the paths to, movements rather than physical based interactions, and then use the animations to kind of make it feel like physics. And what's nice about that was we were able to predetermine the paths, and we were able to create puzzles and levels much more concrete. We would actually draw out paths and puzzles of like, hey, here's the solutions. And then we created a debug tool that would predict the path and see if there were any other solutions that we didn't see, and be able to not only find new solutions, but then be able to kind of like see how those difficulties varied, and then kind of like lock down the puzzle so that maybe those solutions only occur. And it made it a lot easier designing the levels after that. So it's almost like I would almost suggest making it look realistic, but maybe faked in the background, so to speak. Because what you have here looks really cool.
A lot of big games do that
Yeah.
to fix the experience, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But it takes away from the sandbox feeling, though.
yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah, but for your explanation of Hatchet, I think it's a better game for it, Wes.
For that one, yeah. For that one,
for
sure.
Hatchet, yes. Yeah. Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, at the beginning when I was trying to get the planets to lock, just relying purely on the physics, because I mean theoretically, the planet should orbit if you get it to the right velocity, and then I set it to the exact velocity I need. It should orbit properly, but it never actually did that. It always went under or over eventually. But
true, yeah.
Oh, cool. So
very cool.
I'll open it up again if you guys have any more comments or questions, but I do have a question. So what is your plan for this game at this point and in the future? Like, are you planning on working on it more, trying to get to a spot? Do you need other people to help? What do you want to do with this?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely gonna, if I have time, obviously this semester, I'll try to work on it a little bit. Obviously, I'll clean up that tutorial, try to make that more interactive. Another thing I wanted to do, I got some complaints about like moving the gravity well, so I'd want like a slider for sensitivity for the gravity well, and then maybe a slider for sensitivity for the camera, things like that. Maybe I could simplify the controls. You almost never use spacebar here, and like the way I've made it with the you can activate the inverse gravity. You almost don't need the scroll wheel at that point. So I don't know. I might remove some controls just to simplify it, but yeah. Other than that, I guess I'd just try to add more features. So
Cool.
Did I hear you right that you're thinking of a slider for changing the strength of the gravity? Is that what you were saying?
no, I was saying the sensitivity of the movement of the well.
Sensitive. Oh, okay, got it. That makes much more sense. Okay, all right. Because I was thinking it was like that would change your gameplay and that would change how you solve a puzzle.
Right.
Okay, that makes more sense. I thought
I
the
would
dream.
just
That makes
always set it to only have the smallest influence possible.
sense.
Yeah, I know, but you also have those players that are just like, what happens when I set everything to max? And
I feel like that's kind of the draw of having a fun physics space to play with. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
Very
we talk
true.
about Breath of the Wild, right, which has this really like cool physics engine, and people have just pushed that to the absolute furthest reaches of what could possibly happen with that physics engine. And so when you give people a sandbox like this, that they say, "Hey, let's just have fun with this. Tell me what you come up with." Like, I think there's a lot of draw to that in players.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
oh, cool. Yeah, I would
Nice
say if you ever need more people to help, I mean, we do have a lot of Unity developers, but I know some of us know Unreal too.
Yeah.
So definitely feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Bring this to prototype and play.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely bring it to prototype.
Then you can have some one-on-one conversations with people. I know there's some interested people in the chat today. They would probably also want to provide input during a prototype and play session. And we've had some great conversations in those, so
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree.
I think this would go well with that. So nice job.
Thank you.
Cool.
And that you can direct people to go download it, and then they can play it, and
There
right
you
there
go.
feedback stuff. So that's great.
Yep.
And what I'm gonna do now is, hopefully I'm not. Yep, good. Okay. I'm going to put in where people can download it. Maybe. Oh. We get kicked out again. Yeah, if it's gonna happen once, it'll happen again.
Yeah.
That's okay. There we go. There you go. Cool. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap up our presentation today. We didn't miss anybody else if they wanted to do a shout out or
No,
anything like that. Okay.
We're good for now.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that'll wrap it up. So, thanks, Jeff, for showcasing that. Looking
you.
forward to hearing how the game evolves, and we'll be happy to support you when you've got more things to show. If you want to showcase any new stuff,
Alright.
and yeah, anybody else has stuff they want to showcase, let us know. We do this once a month, and happy to have any other kind of presentations too. So cool. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. And are you going to be able, I mean, I'm not here to put you on the spot, but are you going to be able to be in the chat room on Discord later, you think, or not?
I'll be there right after this.
Okay. So if you guys have questions for Jeff, he'll be in the voice channel. So actually that, that'll kind of taper it off since your last presenter. We'll go ahead and close it up for today. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to unmaximize this so you can see it. In our Discord channel, we're going to meet up. If you're part of this, if you're not, let us know. We've got a link in the description for the Discord invite. But definitely hang out with us, join us. We're going to jump into this general chat channel on the left side. Oh, I wonder if you guys got some messages. Hey, Caleb, did you have a message that you sent me that I should know about?
Ignore it for now.
You're good.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
You're fine.
Cool. And
There
okay.
are back channel conversations.
I know. I'm just trying to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Okay, cool.
No, you're good. Move on.
All right. Well, that'll taper it off. So I'm going to go ahead and move through the next slide. And that'll be it, everybody. So thanks for chiming in for today. Appreciate everybody's help. And if you want to join us in the general channel. We'll be there for a little bit. And if nothing else, you guys have the great rest of your month. And we'll see you guys in September. So thanks, everybody, for your help. And have a wonderful weekend. That's the word.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks,
Cheers.
everybody.
Talk to you guys later.
We'll see ya.